In just a few short years, Mark Zuckerberg's dream of a digital utopia has turned into a $46 billion nightmare. Welcome to the Metaverse, where the promise of a virtual paradise is more like a deserted wasteland. Meta, formerly known as Facebook, poured an unfathomable amount of money into reality labs, only to find that most users would prefer to hang out in the real world. Shocking, isn't it? Back in October 2021, Facebook decided it wasn't enough to rule the social media universe. It rebranded to Meta, signaling a cosmic shift into the Metaverse. The vision? A digital wonderland where avatars roam free, working and playing in perfect harmony. What happened? Picture this. Reality Labs reported a jaw-dropping operating loss of nearly $3 billion for just the last 3 months of 2021. But that was just the beginning of this roller coaster ride. Fast forward to July 2022. Horizon Worlds, Meta's crown jewel of VR social experiences, finally launched widely. It was expected to be the place everyone wanted to be. Instead, low user retention numbers hit harder than a face-first trip in your VR headset. Yet the losses kept piling up, reaching a cool $3.7 billion by October 2022. But here's the part nobody noticed. While Zuckerberg was doubling down on virtual reality, Reality Labs' objectives were falling short of internal benchmarks, like a failed New Year's resolution. Then came December, when reports revealed that Meta's Metaverse wasn't just behind schedule, it was off the rails. By June 2023, user engagement in Horizon Worlds was still embarrassingly low. Meta's management might as well have been shouting into the void, trying to get users to care. The stock price took a nosedive too, dropping an estimated 20% as the year rolled into 2023. Meta found itself desperately trying to convince a skeptical public that the Metaverse was a long-term investment. But was it a visionary leap, or just a financial black hole? By September 2023, Meta pivoted again, announcing new strategies to lure users back into their digital world. But the reality? Horizon Worlds remained as desolate as ever. And in October 2023, the grim milestone was hit. Reality Labs' cumulative losses surpassed $46 billion. That's more zeros than any of us would care to count. But let's pause for a moment and ask, how did we get here? How did one of the most powerful tech giants in the world end up betting the farm on a metaverse no one seems to want? Was it a lack of foresight or the necessary risk-taking for future growth, as Meta claims? And let's not forget the ethical implications. Investing billions into virtual realities while pressing real-world issues linger just outside our doors. Yet amidst this chaos, Mark Zuckerberg maintains his cool, insisting that the metaverse is as critical to Meta's future as the internet itself was a few decades ago. But wait until you see what they did next. Meta's big rebranding moment was supposed to be a triumphant leap into a new era. Instead, it turned out to be the setup for an impending train wreck. So here we are, at the crossroads of innovation and financial accountability. The stakes? Nothing less than the credibility of Meta as a tech leader and the future of virtual reality as we know it. But just when you think it couldn't get any more absurd, we're about to peel back another layer of this digital onion. Stay tuned, because in part 2, we dive into the controversial angles, irreconcilable misalignments, and the turning point that could make or break Meta's metaverse madness. You won't believe what's coming next. In the summer of 2022, a digital coliseum opened its gates, inviting people to live, work, and play in a universe crafted from zeros and ones. Horizon Worlds was Meta's golden ticket to the metaverse, a place where creativity knows no bounds, where virtual real estate was as valuable as beachfront property. But the reality? More akin to a deserted theme park with echoing corridors and tumbleweeds in VR goggles. Reports suggested that the user retention rate found itself in a nosedive, threatening to crash land before the ride even got started. Let's pause here. When Meta rebranded from Facebook in October 2021, it was more than just a name change. It was a line drawn in the sand. This was the moment Mark Zuckerberg told the world he wasn't just another tech CEO. Oh no, he was a digital pioneer, leading an expedition into the brave new world of the Metaverse. Fast forward to February 2022, and Reality Labs was already reporting a chilling near $3 billion loss for the last quarter of 2021. It was like buying a ticket to a blockbuster premiere, only to end up in an empty theater wondering if you'd missed the memo. Here's the part nobody noticed. Despite the world being slow to warm to this digital utopia, Mark Zuckerberg stood by his creation. He reassured investors that the Metaverse was a long-term game plan, the kind of stuff you build empires on. Meanwhile, critics had a field day. They clipped and shared every lag, every glitch, every moment users stumbled over non-intuitive interfaces. Public reporting suggested the experience wasn't compelling enough to keep users engaged. The ambitious designs met a reality check colder than an Alaskan winter, and that's where it gets stupid. October 2022 rolled around, and Reality Labs' loss ballooned to another staggering $3.7 billion. Meta's stock price took a nosedive by approximately 20% throughout the year, a financial freefall that even the casual observer couldn't ignore. The critics clapped back, questioning whether this trillion-dollar company was flying blindfolded toward an iceberg. Meta's internal documents reportedly painted a picture of missed benchmarks for Horizon Worlds, portraying a tale less about innovation and more about aspiration gone awry. Public reception was not kind. Social media lit up with memes comparing Horizon Worlds' graphics to those of decade-old video games, and the complexity of its interface became the punchline of countless jokes. Comment section gasoline moment number 1. Users described their experiences with Horizon Worlds as confusing, a stark contrast to the seamless, immersive world they were promised. The gap between expectation and reality yawned wider than the Grand Canyon. By June 2023, any hopes of a rebound seemed dim. User engagement numbers were still floating below the surface, stubbornly refusing to rise. But wait until you see what they did next. In a September 2023 surprise move, Meta announced a new strategy, unveiling tools and incentives designed to lure users back, to breathe life into the dormant metaverse. It was a roll of the dice, a bet on human curiosity and FOMO, encapsulated in slick marketing campaigns and tantalizing previews. Yet, as of October 2023, it seemed the dice had landed far from a winning combination. Reality Labs' cumulative losses surpassed $46 billion, a figure as eye-watering as the dream was once starry-eyed. The next chapter of this saga seemed destined to unfurl amid boardroom debates and shareholder sternness. But here's the kicker. Meta maintained that these investments were necessary for future growth. This wasn't just about creating a virtual space. It was about shaping how interconnected global societies might evolve. CEO Mark Zuckerberg remained steadfast, suggesting that while the journey was rocky, the destination was worth the arduous trek. Still, the ethical implications loomed large, a shadow over Meta's glossy vision. Critics asked if it was justifiable to divert such colossal resources into a digital dreamscape while tangible, real-world issues festered. There was no denying the audacity of the project, but whether it would become a cautionary tale or a tech marvel remained uncertain. With public reporting estimating active user numbers as disappointingly low, the narrative teetered on the edge of transformation or termination. What slam-dunk move would Meta need to pull off to reclaim the narrative? As they say in the gaming world, it's all about the next level. But what would that entail for the Metaverse? Stay tuned, because Part 3 will dive into how Meta plans to rewrite the ending of this digital odyssey, if it can at all. In the final act of this high-stakes drama, Mark Zuckerberg's $46 billion Metaverse gamble is front and center, but not for the reasons you might expect. While some anticipated a revolutionary digital frontier, the Metaverse instead has become a cautionary tale of tech hype meeting harsh reality. Imagine sinking over $46 billion into a virtual universe, only to find it mostly abandoned. Let's explore how Meta, despite its immense resources and promises, managed to create a digital ghost town. Meta's grand rebranding was meant to signal a bold pivot from the social media giant formerly known as Facebook. They were going to reshape human interaction in a fully immersive digital world. February 2022 quickly brought an unwelcome reality check when Reality Labs reported an operating loss of nearly $3 billion for the last quarter of 2021. Was it a blip or a sign of things to come? Spoiler alert, things didn't get better. Fast forward to July 2022, and Horizon Worlds is launched, billed as Meta's flagship Metaverse experience. The reality? Public reporting suggests that users found it confusing and not compelling. It turns out, people don't stick around in a digital universe where the most exciting feature is the exit button. By October 2022, Reality Labs had racked up another $3.7 billion in losses, and rumors swirled that Meta's internal benchmarks were not just missed, they were forgotten like last year's New Year's resolutions. Here's where it gets intriguing. Despite reports of internal chaos, CEO Mark Zuckerberg maintained that the Metaverse was a long-term investment. By December 2022, it was clear Meta's objectives were falling short of even modest predictions. Yet, like a gambler convinced the next roll would be the jackpot, Zuckerberg doubled down. But here's the part nobody noticed. At least, not at first. By June 2023, user engagement in Horizon Worlds was still lower than anticipated, making the whole thing feel like a party no one showed up to. Meta's attempts to lure users back were akin to putting a fresh coat of paint on a sinking ship. In September 2023, they announced new strategies, but with the cumulative losses surpassing $46 billion by October, it was too little, too late. You might wonder, how did it all go so wrong? The real mistake was the assumption that building a metaverse was just a matter of throwing money at it. In reality, the gap between Meta's vision and consumer interest was as wide as the Grand Canyon. A financial sinkhole of this magnitude suggests a spectacular misalignment of foresight. Were they taking necessary risks, or was it high-stakes gambling masquerading as visionary thinking? The aftermath? Beyond the financial bloodbath, Meta's brand has taken a hit. Their significant investment in a largely ignored digital platform raises ethical questions about allocating resources when pressing real-world issues remain unresolved. Perhaps it's time for a strategic pivot. Let's break it down with a three-step playbook to avoid falling into the same trap. 1. Listen to your audience. Before plunging billions into a vision, ensure there's genuine consumer interest. User feedback should guide development, not the other way around. 2. Phased investment. Test the waters with smaller, iterative investments before going all in. This approach limits exposure and allows for course correction based on real-world data. 3. Transparent benchmarks. Set clear, achievable benchmarks for success. And when you inevitably fall short, adjust. Pretending to meet goals that are never met only compounds the damage. And now, the cynical but smart mic drop ending. In trying to build an alternate reality, Meta may have lost touch with the essential reality. Even the most revolutionary tech dreams need a foundation in actual user demand. Want to share this cautionary tale? Because in the realm of tech innovation, the line between visionary and delusional is often drawn with dollar signs and hard lessons learned.